Well, hello, lovely listeners, and welcome, viewers. Today I'm very excited, the wonderful Dale Vincent. If you don't know who Dale Vincent is, you need to shake yourself. Dale was 14 years with the Royal Welsh Fusiliers. He did four operations of Afghanistan, decorated soldier. You were awarded Joint Commander's Commendation on your very first day as a commander in Afghan. And also the first junior NCO to be the infantry advisor for military intelligence. What's an NCO?
Non-commissioned officer.
Okay, cool. Um, Dale, as some of you who are watching and listening now will know exactly who Dale is, and he should have had his day in court on the 19th of March, um, which he's going to talk about in a little while. But needless to say, our wonderful judicial system postponed it. Um, Dale, you came out of the military in 2020, medically discharged, which you told me off air you were absolutely disgusted about. So perhaps you can talk about that. And there's things that happened prior to that, but also when you came out that sort of got you on this trajectory of realizing the absolute fucking madness that was going on in this country under the banner of COVID. Um, and you have attempted to submit evidence to the police. You've been successful and unsuccessful in closing the jibber jab centres. And that's all to do with, I think, this court case and what's been going on with a particular police officer. So, welcome, Dale. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. We might hear some dogs in the background, people, but that's okay. This is all good. Before I go any further, my wonderful subscribers, keep liking, keep commenting. It really helps me to grow this channel. And share it with your friends and anybody else. And as YouTube refuses to monetize me and I refuse to comply, if you want to buy me a coffee /Mel Clark with an E, that would be much appreciated. So, welcome, Dale. It's amazing to have you.
Thank you.
Right. So, I would like to know a little bit about Dale prior to the madness that is 2020 onwards. So you went into the Fusiliers very young. You were 16, is that right?
I was, yeah, 16 years old. I required my father's signature to join if you're under 18.
Right. And why did you want to go? What made you want to go?
For as long as I can remember, I've always wanted to be a soldier. I guess it's just something. I don't know. For as long as I can remember, all the way through my schooling years, just always wanted to be a soldier. I guess I just wanted to be a protector of my community.
Yeah. Yeah, my partner was the same as you, 16, went into the Marines. He was there for I think 6 years, and then family commitments made him come out. But he said the same. He always wanted to be a soldier, and of course, classic playing with action men and all the rest of it when you were a boy. So and shooting people in the street. Was that the same as you?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
So, was it all you expected it to be when you got in there?
I well, huh. I mean, yeah, it's difficult now looking back because we spoke earlier of so I've done four operations of Herrick, Afghanistan, um, and now I believe that our troops may have been brainwashed. Initially we were there for weapons of mass destruction. We didn't find any weapons of mass destruction. I'm sure you're aware. And I guess, yeah, it's very difficult to break your Stockholm syndrome. So we spoke earlier. I was medically discharged for PTSD in December 2020, and the way that I was discharged, I couldn't believe it because I I committed so much to the army, and I was a good guy. I was always top third of my platoon. I was always seen as one of the stronger members. The guys actually used to call me one of the 10 principles of war, which is maintenance of morale, because no matter how shit the scenario, I would always try to boost my troops' morale. And believe it or not, when I was discharged, and I had a social worker attached to me, and he made false claims that ultimately stopped me from seeing my child. Now, the social worker, he is a civilian, but he was attached to the military, so it's kind of like a grey area. So then when I was going back to the military and seeing like the captains and stuff, and they was asking me how I was feeling, I was saying, well, sir, you've stopped me from seeing my child. You know, how do you expect me to be? Like, that's ultimately, my son is the reason for my being. And
Why did they stop you seeing him? Can you talk about that or?
yes. The social worker claims that he said I was punching walls and kicking dogs in his statement. And what I actually told him was I had a bit of a mad breakdown, and I went through my living room door. It's since been rebuilt now, but I went through that living room door and I kicked my washing machine to death. I'd also like to add, all this was happening. So I done 2 years on big farmers' drugs. So I had the diazepam, the venadaxlin, the tamazis, and I was never introduced to psilocybin. So, I mean, again, I guess a lot of listeners are not aware of the health benefits of microdosing psilocybin. But what it does is it creates neurogenesis in the brain, which is the rebuilding of dormant brain cells. My mother, she died of Alzheimer's. I've since found out that psilocybin helps Alzheimer patients, but you won't hear that in the news. Big farmers won't tell you. As a matter of fact, since this journey, I've been seeing a lot of doctors, and when I ask them, sir, do you understand neurogenesis? They say no. They don't even understand the endocannabinoid system. I was in court last week or the week before that, and we had a scientist that was testing all the cannabis products. My legal team advised me not to ask the scientist any questions because we wouldn't get any benefit from it. However, within the first couple of minutes of her speaking, she was speaking of THC, which is the psychoactive ingredient in cannabis, and she spoke of it in a such derogatory manner. I knew that she didn't understand her endocannabinoid system. So I went against my legal team's advice and I did ask her some questions. And my first question was, Mom, do you understand the endocannabinoid system? And she said no. And I was like, how can a scientist from the government not understand that all mammals on planet Earth have an endocannabinoid system? And when we sublingually take, and again, so we've asked the court for the transcripts, so all this will be ready available on social media near you very soon. But when we sublingually have RSO, it allows all the CB1 and CB2 receptors in the body to speak to each other. Now, CB1 and CB2 receptors are in all of the major organs, 95% of all organs, but when they can speak to each other, it eliminates abnormal growth cell, also known as cancer. And when I asked Mom on the stand, was she aware of any of this? She said, no. So that's where we're at, sirs, ma'ams, ladies and gentlemen. And you can't tell me that the government don't know this information, because I learned I have a diploma in medicinal marijuana. I done an online course, but this online course, this is all government's teachings.
Yeah.
So they obviously understand all this. They just don't want me and you to have this information. They want us to be sick, in my personal opinion.
Yeah.
Very sad. Very sad.
I would agree with you. We know big pharma is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and that's exactly why it's there. So
And never cured a disease. They only
no,
treat diseases. They
I
never
know they've
cure
been
them.
they've been at cancer cures for how long? Um,
Well, I don't know whether you've seen this act that's just resurfaced. I believe it's the Cancer Act 13 or 1939,
yeah,
and it prohibits
yeah,
individuals from treating cancer.
yeah.
It's frightening.
It's crazy.
It's
Um,
frightening.
so you basically were discharged and social worker went against you. So what, so then what happened in terms of your discharge?
So basically, the social worker, he claims that it was an error. Now, this error, because they made my baby's mother aware that I'm now kicking my dogs. So in the military, we have an escalation ladder. Okay, so for example, under Card Alpha, for me to use lethal force, you have to be endangering somebody's life. You have to be of a hostile nature. So, like, I know that if you were saying that I'm punching a wall, it's one thing. If you were then reporting that I'm beating up an animal, that's escalated me on the ladder. So even though this social worker, he admitted it was an error on his part, he wouldn't contact the baby's mother and apologize for the error that he spoke of. The military wouldn't help me. So they just made an error. They stopped me from seeing my child, and then they washed their hands with me. And before I started microdosing psilocybin, I was in a very, very, very dark place. Like, PTSD is no bloody joke. I was lost. My brain. Well, again, there are some experts that claim that these diseases are just malnourishment.
Hmm.
And now I've got to be honest, like, I'm able to, like, when I have my microdose of psilocybin, it enables me to get out the house and go and speak to police officers. Before that, I couldn't even get out my bloody house. So for these guys to suppress this information, it's criminal. It is
Yeah.
absolutely disgusting. And it breaks my soul because I've been to theatre and I've lost friends, like good friends of mine. I've been, we went there, they didn't come back. And when I come back and realize how bad this system is built, it's so bad. It's soul destroying.
Did you notice it when you were in it?
No. Well, so whilst I was on my fourth operation in 2012, Herrick 16, I remember walking into one of my, like the NCOs, we had like little compounds where we lived in, and then all the troops lived in like these big tents. And I remember going into the tent on one of the guys' down days, or, when he's got a couple of hours spare, and he was watching a documentary into 9/11 being an inside job.
Hmm.
And immediately, like, I didn't take my notebook and pen out and start, taking these guys' names down and researching them. I just immediately, my Stockholm syndrome kicked in, and I said to myself, well, that documentary can't be accurate because look at all the millions of soldiers out there. Like, they couldn't have tricked us all. But now I honestly believe that it may have been an inside job. I mean, after seeing what we went through with COVID, you know,
Yeah.
nothing's left on the table because these guys they're so evil. They're
Yeah.
terrible,
Took
terrible guys.
Tucker Carlson's just had a guy on. I've just seen it on a Telegram channel, all about the 9/11 demolition. And I haven't watched it yet, but I can't remember the guy's name now. But that's literally just been published, so you might want to catch that one. Um,
Yeah.
so okay, so you were in denial still at that point. It didn't make sense to you, but when you came out and you were medically discharged and obviously in a dark place. By the way, have you got access to your boy now? Did all that get resolved?
Nope. I haven't seen him for about 5, 6 years now.
Oh, you're kidding. I'm sorry.
Well, I guess this journey has kind of forced me down a route because ultimately, I've got nothing else to do.
Yeah.
So one of my friends sent me a video of Mark Sexton claiming these jabs were poison, and there was a crime reference number where all this evidence was
Yeah.
submitted. And I went out to my local police station, and this was very early on, like 5 years ago in the campaign. And I went out to my local police station and I said, "Oh, sir, we've got this crime reference number, and apparently the COVID jabs are cardiotoxic in nature. And I just noticed the police, how incompetent and unprofessional they are. This was before I knew about the Freemasons. And like, it blew me away, because I've been in the military for 14 years. So I know what it's like to be a professional, a protector of my people. And to see these police, they were just like, yeah, mate, there's nothing we can do about that, mate. You need to, you need to go and report it to the medics.
Yeah, to who? Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Wow. So you know Mark Sexton now. You've done some work with him, is that right?
Yes, well, ultimately, I attempted to go to these centres on my own in South Wales. I tried to get a lot of people to come with me, but ultimately, everybody that I was speaking to, they were saying, "Oh, Vince, that's a bad idea." But it's because we've been so conditioned. Like, we think that the police are above the law, and we think that we haven't got any rights.
Yeah.
So ultimately, I kept trying, and I had a soak period of about 9 months. And I was speaking to a friend of mine. He's a head coach, and he was, giving me some advice and stuff. And he said, "Vince, you're not going to rest until you go and do this." So he said, "I would advise you to reach out to Mark Sexton again." So that's what I did. I after the day, I emailed him again, and then he got back in touch with me. So I drove somewhere in England and went and met him. And I said to him, I said, "Mark, this is what you need to do." But he had already been closing a lot of vaccine centres down. And I said to him, so I had been viral on the internet prior to this. And I said to Mark, I said, "Mark, when I get off the plane in Spain or France or bloody Germany, people recognize me for my content on the internet." I said, "That's what we need with these jab centers. We need to have that same effect." So I said, "You need to close one down. You need to take a camera crew with you. You need to make that go viral." And then his immediate response was, "No, I'm not closing any more centers. We've done that." But I planted the seed, because after about 2-week period, he then got back in touch with me, and he said, "Yeah, I've been thinking about what you said. Let's do it." And then ultimately, we went down and closed the centre down, and that ultimately led to the arrest of the police constable. We closed the centre down on the 1st of October.
And which one was this? Where was this?
This was in Bristol.
Yeah.
And then they reopened the centre 3 days later. So we went back down on the 4th of October, and the police constable, they didn't want to take any evidence off us. They were happy that the centre wasn't cardiotoxic in nature. So I attempted a citizen's arrest on the police constable.
Is there any video footage of that?
Yes. It's everywhere. I mean, the content we spoke earlier, this content was extremely censored years ago, but now it's gently not being so censored. I don't know whether, because I believe there's just so much content being uploaded. It's impossible to police it all. The AI algorithm can't pick up everything, because, for example, we're turning the word vaccine into jab, but a jab can also mean a jab to the face. So they can't stop the word jab, for example. So it only took a short tweaking for people to realize that these algorithms are picking up all the naughty words or the censored words. So with some tweaking, now the closure of the center, it went on to reach 30 million. So that's
really?
how many people. Yes, and I've got to be honest. Rocky, come on, move, please. I'm more proud. I know he's bloody bonkers. He wants to be on my lap all the time. I'm more proud of potentially making 30 million people aware that these jabs are cardiotoxic than my entire military career. Wow. Because I now believe, as I've said, I believe that we were duped with Iraq and Afghan. I don't believe that we were there with integrity. And unfortunately, I have to condition myself. I have to keep reminding myself that I stood up for my country when I thought my country needed me. But unfortunately, you know, the leaders and commanders at the time were infiltrated, and they didn't have the people's interest at heart. Well, I believe that they lied to us. I believe that it was all. I mean, I don't know whether you've seen that clip of the Navy SEAL Jesse Ventura, and he's been interviewed, and he quotes the on the day of 9/11, there was a BBC reporter, and they mentioned Building 7. Now, not a lot of people understand the Solomon Building, but that also went down on 9/11. But they claimed that that was burnt down by office fires. And I'm sure, I don't know whether you've seen the content, Mel, but it falls at free fall, like it was, and probably demolitioned.
Yeah.
So I mean, and the reporter, you can go and check this content yourself. Rocky, move please. Yeah, the reporter claimed that the Solomon Building was blown up, and she's reporting, and the Solomon Building's in the background. You can see the building clearly behind her. So
Yeah.
they knew it was a script,
Yeah.
and like it's a lot to digest, especially, you know, when you've committed yourself for 14 years. And I gotta be honest, I think I can see why a lot of my soldier friends are struggling to digest this information. Like, ultimately, you know, we're 5 years in now. Shame on them for not being able to digest a simple affidavit to Dr. Francis Boyle, for example, today. But I can see why they struggled some years ago, because these guys, some of them have been in the army 20 years, and they're like this. They believe that their commanders couldn't be so evil. But unfortunately, I don't believe a lot of them understand the Freemasons and how the Freemasons are bloody. They're involved in a lot of their judges, their police officers. They're bloody everywhere. It's
Yeah.
sickening.
Well, yeah, they control the system, they control the world, let's be honest.
I believe so, yes.
Yeah. So have any of your military friends come around in terms of a different way of thinking or not?
It's funny. It's funny because a lot of my friends, so everybody knows that I was medically discharged for PTSD. You know, it's something, you know, I'm not proud of it, but I don't hide the fact that I was suffering really, really bad. And I mean, I'm not, you know, I don't understand how anybody can be great living in this world at this time, this day and age, because it is disgusting. But a lot of my military personnel, I say military personnel, a lot of my friends were concerned about me. Like, you know, I hear the stories now. Their wives are telling me, "Oh, Vince, like he was proper, he was proper worried about you some years ago when he was going down the police station." Because I've been videoing all this and putting it online to make people aware just how bad, you know, the system is. And yeah, a lot of my friends were concerned. But now, like, all of my friends are, they love the fact that I'm that I've been exposing said corruption. However, the blokes that are still in the military, I mean, I've heard. So I've also been down to my old army camp, because my thinking process was, if I can arrest a copper, I can obviously arrest a soldier for misconduct in a public office. I've been navigated through this journey, and my legal team advised me not to arrest anybody on that day. And I understand why now, because of lawfare. Because basically, if I continue, or let's say, for example, I attempt to arrest another bent copper, what they can do then is they can hold me in contempt of court, and my court case has been pushed back 15 months. So
Crazy.
I will sit in jail, guilty or not. I will sit in jail for that time period, which is devastating, because I honestly wanted to get this ball rolling as fast as I could, but unfortunately, I am being guided by my legal team.
Well, I think just while I was listening to you, and fair play to you for having the balls to do this, but also having the wisdom to maybe, listen when you need to listen, as tempting as it is. But there's also everything in divine timing, and I don't know what your beliefs are spiritually or whatever, but there's things that go on
Okay, thanks.
that we're not aware of, right? The universe is creating this amazing web of stuff around us, and then opportunities and things present themselves at the right time, as long as we're aware of it and open to recognizing that it is divine timing. Because maybe it got delayed because there's more stuff to come out that's going to completely make this rock solid when it does,
Mm,
when you do get your day in court, if you do get your day in court, because you don't know
well,
what's going to happen over the next 15
yeah.
months, right? And it's the same for all of us that are going through the court system. I'm in it myself as well. For they made me bankrupt, fraudulently, the council tax. And so I'm still going through the process of getting that annulled, and I will get it annulled. But every step of the way, there's more information coming to light. There's more corruption coming to light. There's more things that people are discovering. And all of that is just for the good of people like you and me that can then go and use that in a positive way.
Yes, however, unfortunately, so I don't have the pleasure of. So I've only recently become spiritual, and for those of you that don't believe in a higher power, I have captured this, what I can only describe as a celestial being come to visit me on 9/11/22. So that's when this thing, it was after I closed all these centers down and made it very viral. And this thing that come to visit me, it changed my life. So now I understand non-locality, and I pray because I understand how the universe works. I say understand. I'm
You've got an
starting to
awareness.
learn.
You've got an
Yeah,
awareness. Yeah, yeah.
there's a lot to it. But unfortunately, when you're a soldier, you don't have that luxury. So I understand that the longer that I take, or the longer that we take, because I can't do this on my own. I need to, like viewers, you need to understand that everything that Dale is doing, you can do. Me
Yeah.
and you are exactly the same in the eyes of the law. Yes, I have military experience, and I do appreciate it because I'm going on these sovereignty groups. Rocky, move, please. Sorry about the dog.
Okay.
I'm going on these move. I'm going on these groups, and they say they understand all this stuff, but they could never address a police constable the way I do, because I've obviously that experience of being a corporal.
Yeah.
And because when you're a corporal, you are the lowest, or when you're an infantry corporal, you are the lowest, you're a boss, but you're the lowest boss. So it doesn't matter whether I'm addressing a sergeant major, a captain. I'm qualified in tactics. So what I say on the battlefield is my plan, and I can address that sergeant major or captain as I see fit. But ultimately, oh, something's popped up on my screen, sorry. Ultimately, the longer that we take, the more collateral damage, because they're still jabbing kids.
Mm,
Like today,
I
they're
know.
jabbing kids, they'll be jabbing them tomorrow. Until, and I honestly believe, because, so I don't know whether you're familiar with Steve Forsyth. I love the guy. He's an absolute legend. And I believe everything that he's saying, reference the military being in charge. And I didn't believe it for a long, long time, but now I do. But ultimately, if the army just come in and arrest these criminals, this may happen in another 100 or 200 years. So I believe what they're doing now is they're trying to get people to awaken themselves. They're trying to get people to realize, actually, this is my problem. Like, nobody's coming to help me.
Yeah.
I can fix this.
Yeah.
But I believe that's where we're at this
Yeah.
moment in time. And I do believe, like, when you go online now and you see the MSN pieces online and you see all the comments, 4 or 5 years ago, when I was uploading these videos, everybody thought I was bonkers, even my friends. Like, and you can read it in the comments. People were like, oh my God, get this kid some help. Fuck me, he needs some serious help. But now, people, like 95% of the comments are pro anti-COVID jabs.
Yeah.
So it's like we're getting there. We're not quite there at the moment, but I believe it's only a matter of time before people realize, well, actually, yeah, we have been poisoned. Because look how many children are dying now.
I know.
Like, we cannot allow these criminals to get away with killing our kids.
Yeah.
You know, these guys are beyond evil, and they need due process very, very soon.
Yeah.
But I do believe it's happening.
It definitely is happening. There's definitely more awareness and more waking up, if you like, for want of a better phrase. And I think what I would say, because it is, you know, you're very passionate about what you believe in and what you're trying to achieve. And I know you're frustrated about this delay. However, in the spiritual sense, every soul is on their own journey, and we all had, if you've gone this far into it, a soul contract before we came into these bodies, and therefore, you know, and everyone's got an exit date, which you decided before you came into the body. So as sad as it is and as horrible as it is to watch what's going on, and it's not just with the COVID crap, it's obviously all the wars and Palestine and all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, we're just seeing it everywhere. And then, but however, I have to keep telling myself, and this is the only way you stay sane really, is when we pass over, you know, we're not dead. Our spirit lives on, and the body goes, but the spirit is there, and the spirit might come down again in another form at whatever time. And every soul that's on this planet right now is exactly the same, and they've decided what experience they want. And it's not just their experience for themselves, it's the experience that the people around them are having while that person is going through that experience. And it's all about the collective consciousness and all of that sort of stuff. And so, as devastating as it is, and as frustrating as it is, and we all want this to end today, me included, like you said, it's happening like it is because people can't just be shook awake. You know, on like you can't get. I don't believe there's 8 billion people on this frigging planet anyway. But however many people are on this planet, you can't just shake them all awake at the same time because chaos would ensue. It has to be a gradual process. People have to get to it of their own accord rather than being told and slapped around the face like us conspiracy theorists tried to do 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. Can't you see it? Can't you see it? Can't you see it? And they're just like, shut up. They didn't want to know. They have to get there in their own time. So I'm sorry, I've gone on a bit of a rant there, but it was just to say, you know, just to appease you a little bit, really, because I know it's frustrating, but at the same time, everybody's on their own journey.
Yes, for me, yes, I do agree. I do agree. I struggled to digest that for a long time. Rocky, please move. I thought to myself that I was the most unlucky individual because we're living in this time.
Yeah.
But now I see it as such a, you know, war isn't pleasant.
No.
And any way that you go, there's collateral damage. You know, but I believe what these guys are trying to do is they're trying to minimize the collateral damage, and they're trying to, as I've said, get people to work and on their own. But soldiers, for a soldier not to be able to digest a simple affidavit, you are not fit for a uniform, in my professional opinion. Like, you know, there is no excuse. Soldiers, they do tests before they get in the army to confirm that they can read and write and they're not bloody blind. And every year we do maths to keep us current and up to date with, you know, things. And NBC, which is nuclear, chemical, biological warfare, is a part of the maths. And also law of armed conflict is a part of the maths. So for guys, you know, let me give you an example. We in the military shave. Now, we shave for two reasons. One is for uniformity, because some men can grow good beards, some men have bum fluff, so they want everybody to look equal. But another reason for us to shave every day is for the nuclear, chemical, biological warfare threat, because we have to don a gas mask. Now, since the rollout of the jabs, they've allowed soldiers to grow beards in the army.
Right.
And I'm just like, boys, they're taking the piss. Like, they're allowing you to grow a beard now because you've all been bloody jabbed. And blokes, they still can't see it. And so one guy, I was very, I won't name and shame him, but you know who you are, sir. But he was my platoon sergeant when I was a fusilier. I was then promoted to lance corporal. I was still in their platoon. We went to Afghan, together. And when you go to Afghan together, you grow that bond. Rocky, please move. I've submitted all this information to him. He doesn't believe it. And we went to a piss up. Like once a year, they used to have a Royal Welsh meeting, and I went to the meeting, or it's a meeting, it's a piss up. I went there, and I said, "Listen, sir, I'm not going to speak politics to you today. The only thing I ask is you don't give this poison to your kids." And he turned around and he said, "Vince, I've already jabbed my kids." Now, how do you come to terms? How do you break that cognitive dissonance? How do you admit to yourself, I shouldn't have given my child that poison?
Well, you can't.
You can't. So ultimately, with these guys in the military, a lot of them have give this stuff to their kids. I don't know whether they'll ever be able to break their cognitive dissonance. I don't know whether they'll keep protecting and defending the government until their final breath. And ultimately, that saddens me, because I believe that these guys are breaking the law. If you're a soldier and you're not passing a threat up your chain, like even in the section, like if one of my guys, if we were followed by an enemy and one of my guys seen it and he didn't bring it to my attention until the guy's bloody shooting at us, I need to discipline this guy. He needs to go on remedial training because he's crap. He's literally putting my blokes' lives in danger. And that's been something since day one, week one in the military.
You must be aware, though, that the recruitment for military and the police and any other kind of services like that, they are now adopting a certain kind of person, aren't they, that doesn't think for themselves. There is, they can mold into whatever they want. It's whatever scale they're using now for these metric testings and all the rest of it. I think my belief and others people's belief is that they are purposely recruiting people that are just going to be compliant, and therefore you're fighting a losing battle when you're trying to have these conversations or arguments with some people to try and make them see that what they're doing is wrong, because they're that indoctrinated and they can't think for themselves. They just like to be told, and they show up, they do their job, they get paid. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not super familiar with the police, but I do believe, we're seeing a lot of things now. I'm following this this predator awareness group on Facebook, and they're exposing all the police officers that are being done for sexual abuse. And it's pretty horrific.
Yeah.
Now, I don't believe that's the same in the military. However, in the military, we are very tunnel visioned into following orders. Like if your boss is telling you you're going over that wall, you're going over that wall. So I mean, in the army, I guess it's slightly different. Maybe they're not promoting these bad behaviors in depot. However, you don't need that so much in the military, because if you have a commanding officer that's bent, if the commanding officer is a Freemason, then ultimately all the companies and all the platoons, they're going to be following unlawful orders without knowing that their orders are unlawful, unfortunately. So it's it's a little bit different from the military and the police, but these coppers, oh my God, it's frightening. I mean, I've had so many occasions now where I'm trying, like I've literally hundreds of police officers that require due process, and at the moment, we've just got so much work to do. Oh my God, there's so many cops that require due process. I told you earlier, I was found guilty of 2 grams of cannabis on my person, even though I'm a CAN card holder. Now, a CAN card holder, for those of you unaware, means that I am using cannabis for medicinal purposes. The lawfare that they threw at me in the courtroom, oh my God, I was not prepared for that. They are such slimy sons of bitches. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy.
Who found this stuff on you? Where were you?
So I was pulled over in my vehicle. I was.
So were you being targeted because of who you are and what you're trying to do?
I don't. So yes, I think so. But I believe this guy was just a random. He just pulled me over randomly. But he took my stuff. I made him aware. I said straight away, sir, I have a prescription for that. No, you don't. Like straight away, immediately. And this copper, so I had the copper on the stand. We asked him four questions. First question, are you aware that failing to report a crime is misconduct in the public office? And his answer was no. The police don't know. And the jury still found me guilty.
Wow.
I know. It's
You had a jury for 2 grams of cannabis.
I had a jury for 2 grams of cannabis and they still found me guilty. It was £4,000 court cost. They fined me £2,070. And I've recently found out that MPs that are getting done for sexual assault, they're getting fined 200 quid. And sirs, mums, ladies and gentlemen, the cannabis trial, right, was 7-day period after the citizen's arrest trial. So I was in Crown Court for a 3-day period on the 19th of March and the 26th of March, 7 days after.
You were definitely targeted, Dale.
Well, they pushed my citizen's arrest case back. They pushed it back 15 months, even though we've been waiting a 2.5-year period already. However, they found a judge for the 2 grams of cannabis, and that was also a 3-day trial. So they are prioritizing veteran with CAN card, with PTSD, self-medicating with 2 grams of cannabis over the alleged beating of an emergency worker. That's what they're prioritizing.
And there was no beating of the emergency worker anyway, right?
Obviously not. I gotta be honest. The video that the guys have captured is, I honestly believe that's the reason why they don't want this to court, because this will create case law and it will encourage other men out there to realize that nobody is above the law.
Yeah.
Regardless of what uniform they don, if they are turning a blind eye to law, they are guilty. So, I mean, I'm very much looking forward to that case. Well, because they've pushed the case back 15 months, my legal team are looking, because I've got to be honest, I'm absolutely devastated. I can't wait another 15-month period of not doing anything. So my legal team are looking at different avenues that we can approach. But yeah, it's been some roller coaster, I tell you. It's been mental.
I know. Wow. I mean, it's especially given where you've come from, with the struggles that you had leaving the service and everything, and the PTSD, and like you said, the self-medication of the microdosing has really helped you to just operate every day. My mind is blown that there was a 3-day court case for cannabis.
2 grams.
Wow. You were definitely targeted. No shadow of a doubt on that one. You're being targeted because of what you're trying to do. So they're trying to discredit you, aren't they, basically?
Yes. But when we got the scientist on the stand, she doesn't understand the endocannabinoid system.
No.
Like, how can we have a scientist working for the government that doesn't understand a part of your body? And for those of you that are listening to this, right, try it with your own doctor. Go into your doctor and ask them. My uncle, right? My uncle, he's had 5 jabs and he now has cancer. I was trying to educate him that there are alternate methods to fight cancer. And in my opinion, the best way is to strengthen your immune system.
Yeah.
He would not even ask his doctor whether the doctor understood the endocannabinoid system. Like, this is how conditioned we are. And my uncle, he's an ex-soldier. He was a RRW. And for an ex-soldier not to, I don't know what you want to call it, but you're conditioned in such a manner you don't feel that you can ask the doctor a simple question? Because if your doctor doesn't understand your endocannabinoid system, then they're not giving you the best advice, sirs, ma'ams, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, because they don't know all of the bloody biology.
Yeah.
So, yes, please, guys, if you are listening and you are sick, please consider hemp oil, because it is, I don't know another plant that will strengthen your immune system like cannabis. I mean, again, I'm open to listening to other people if they have, but I don't know anything that strengthens it like cannabis.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I just so what are you? I know you said 15 months you can't do nothing and all the rest of it, but are you able to appeal against this decision, given that it was a jury that found you guilty?
So so the arrest, the citizen's arrest, was pushed back 15 months, just to confirm.
Yeah.
The cannabis, I was found guilty of 2 grams. Now, because it was a jury, so I didn't think so. But I've excuse me, I've recently been talking to my friend Guy, and he's told me, because I've offered the judge evidence. Oh, this is the other thing as well. They wouldn't allow me to submit evidence.
Oh, I've heard that one before. It happened to me.
I couldn't believe it. Like
Yeah.
I showed them the evidence, and they were like, "No, you can't submit this. It's off government website." And the prosecution, CPS, all of his knowledge, guess where it was from? Government website and the CanCard website. But they wouldn't allow me to submit anything from the CanCard website or the government website. So because the judge wouldn't allow me to submit evidence, and he ignored the affidavit of Dr. Francis Ball, because ultimately I was questioning their jurisdiction. I said, "Sir, why do you think you have jurisdiction over me when I have evidence of you guys' violation of Nuremberg Code and Geneva Convention?" But completely, they didn't even give me full disclosure until 23 hours before the trial.
Wow.
And my legal team found out that I should have 28 days to prepare for a fair trial. And I said this to the judge, and he said, "No, I'm confident that you've had plenty of time."
No, no. Should have
23
been,
hours.
it should have been adjourned.
So, to answer to your question, yes, we can appeal the decision, and my guys are looking at doing that right now. But I mean, I'm a far better soldier than I am lawyer. The law, it's impossible for an individual to digest all of it. It would take an individual 300 years, approximate 300 years, to read all of the acts and statutes back to back. It's impossible.
Well, let's get one thing straight. That's not law. That's statutes and acts.
Yes, that's a colour of
The
law.
law
Thank
is
you for
very
correcting me.
simple. Do not hurt anyone. Do not
Thank you for
steal.
correcting me. Yes, no, you're absolutely correct. It's not the law; it's the colour of law. It's
Yeah, exactly. And I think there's
total
over
nonsense.
100,000 statutes and acts. And so it's done by design. So plebs like us haven't got a frigging Scooby-Doo. We haven't got an expensive education through law school or anything like that. And anyway, I could go on and on and on. But
No, you're right. It's
yeah,
disgusting.
right, okay. I know you're in touch with one of our groups now, so I'm hoping that they can help. They can assist in some way. The WMA.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's just an absolute disgrace. And it's another, ladies and gents that are listening, this is a veteran that protected his country for 14 years, and this is how he's being treated by our corrupt judicial and police system. Absolute
And
arsehole.
it's not just me. I've since learned, like, some of the soldiers that I used to look up to, like when I was a young lance corporal and I was a senior full screw, for example, I've since realized. So when I left the military, I was on Temazepam. Now, I'd done years of eating Big Pharma's drugs. Temazepam was the first tablet that I had that actually worked for me. And when I left the army and come into Civvy Street, they said, "Oh, we can't issue you that." I had to go and source my Temazepam illegally because the doctors wouldn't give it to me. And I've since found out, do you think that I'm the only individual that this is happening to?
Yeah.
Have a look at all the veterans that are homeless and struggling on the street.
Yeah.
It's
It's a
and
fucking disgrace, Dale.
it
That's
is
definitely.
it is a disgrace. And I'll also let your viewers know. Have a look at it's Line in the Sand. Have you seen the documentary Line in the Sand by James O'Keefe?
Not sure. What's it
Oh,
about?
honestly, it will break your soul when you know that there is no help for veterans, but you see all the help for the illegals. And again, this is not my opinion. James O'Keefe is an absolute brilliant journalist. Please go and watch his documentary Line in the Sand. It will make you
Yeah.
it's soul destroying.
Yeah.
It's done by design. It's
Yeah.
to they're trying to weaken us in any way, shape, or form. It's
And it's
truly
and it
disturbing.
yeah, emasculating men, look at the younger generation. My son's 25, and him and his mates, like, obviously the anxiety, the depression, all of that, the panic attacks, that's all rife in the younger people, my son included. But the emasculation, the whole, even to the point of waxing eyebrows and things like that, in the old days, that just didn't happen, did it?
No, I agree.
Men
Yes,
had
I agree.
hairy armpits and they didn't give a shit, and all of that sort of stuff. And it's just crazy. But anyway, we digress a little bit. So, before we come to a close, I need to mention you did a song, didn't you?
I did, yes.
What's it called?
A sovereignty music video, a sovereign music video, rather.
Right, so you've promised me you're going to share that file with me, and I'm going to put a little clip in this podcast for the
Yes.
viewers, just to because I listened to it earlier. I didn't know you'd done it, and I love it, and I love the way it's been put together, and what you're showing that you've been involved with, and the corruption and all of that sort of stuff, and the words obviously as well of the songs. So make sure you send that over, and I'll put that in.
Listen up now, sirs, moms, ladies and gentlemen. See, this information here requires direct attention. How the fuck these warriors quiet manner, I gotta mention. Why these doctors and experts, they get in silence and censored. Off the edge of a cliff, we carry on this direction. They've been planning for time, way before Bobby's detention. Fill the TV screens with a bunch of lies and deception. Last bit of the plan, bang on mass forms of depression. It's the same cunts denying natural immunity. They're destroying us troops, killing community. The truth is, sirs, moms, we made a grave mistake. It be the reason lately for my constant wake and bake. Play. What's wrong with the world, mama? People living like they ain't got no mama. People killing, people dying, children hurt and you hear them crying. When you practice what you preach and what you turn the other cheek. Father, 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 help us, send some guidance from above. These people got me questioning, where is the love? Where is the love?
I shall. I'm trying to, this whole campaign is ultimately winning the hearts and minds of the people. We need the people to break their cognitive dissonance and their herd mentality. We need people to understand that these Freemasons, they are a serious threat. They are a serious threat. And I mean, for a police officer, if you swear an oath of allegiance to protect your people, but you swear an oath to a third-party secret organization, you can't do that. You are in violation of said oath. You can only do an oath to one activity, not both. So every corper that is in the Freemasons, they are by definition breaking the law, guys. And we need to appreciate another good film for you guys. I'll let everybody know is the Sound of Freedom. Have you?
Oh yeah,
seen
yeah.
that?
I went to the pictures to see that.
So
Yeah.
did I, yes. But understand that this is really happening. It is the fastest growing criminal enterprise the world has ever seen. And everybody knows what an AK-47 is. I'm not going to say the word because it might get it might get removed, but not many people understand the adrena word. I'm not going to say it because it's heavily censored, but it's time for the men to start realizing where we are, troops. Like, this is, by definition, this is a war. They've declared war on us. They have issued a biological weapon to us, and we are now seeing the devastating effects of said weapon. So please, guys, I mean, if I had 10 blokes with my thinking process, this war would be over like that. But unfortunately, we're conditioned in such a manner that everybody thought that I was bonkers. But it's nice now. We're finally at the stage where there are many, many men starting to realize their true powers. So I believe we have won this war. We're just seeing it through now till the end.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's not going to go down without a fight. We know that.
Most definitely not.
Yeah. So is there a way, I should have asked you this before we started recording, but if there's people listening and maybe some ex-military in a shit situation, thinking they're going crazy and all that sort of stuff, are you encouraging people to contact you or reach out somewhere? So
I've been trying to strengthen my community's mental health, or you can reach out to me. I'm Vince7027 on most of my social media platforms. There's an underscore on some because I've obviously been kicked off the platform once or twice. I'm also Welsh Sheriff, at Welsh Sheriff now on YouTube and Twitter. Yes, guys, if you need any information, any additional information, please reach out to me. The cannabis and psilocybin can only be prescribed privately. So there's an unfortunate battle that you're going to have with your GP. You're going to have to go there and you're going to have to demand some answers. But don't be afraid to do it. It's their bloody job. Yeah. It's their job to look after you and your health. So if you are struggling, please, guys, please seek alternate sources of medicines, because the microdosing of psilocybin, it is allowing me to get out that bloody door and go and speak to coppers in the way that I have been doing for the last couple of years. And I can tell you, without that, I can't even get out of my bloody house. So it is massive, massive neurogenesis. It's for me, spiritual now. I do believe in a greater power, and these, whatever you want to call them, spirits, fucking celestials, I do believe that they've put that on our earth to aid and to help all the men and women of this beautiful planet. So please, guys, don't be afraid to source alternate sources of medicines.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you share your links with me, I'll make sure that they're in the show notes for people to be able to start following you.
I will. We will. Yes, I will do that for you.
Okay, cool. I normally finish with anything you feel called to share. What you just shared was very passionate, but is there anything else that we haven't spoken about, Dale, that you'd like to say before we finish?
I think we've spoken of, plenty for people to start digesting. I mean, I know it's a lot, guys. I can only apologize. I haven't started this. The only thing I've ever done in my entire life is try to be a protector of my community. And when I give this information to people, they shut off immediately. Please try and be stronger, guys. Please try and approach it with a pinch of salt, because ultimately, I haven't come up with these findings. Dr. Peter McCullen, Dr. Asim Malhotra, Dr. Robert Malone, these guys are world-renowned Nobel Prize winners. I haven't typed this fucking statistics on the DMed from my bedroom. These are unfortunate truths that we are going to have to digest. Every man, woman, and child is going to have to digest this information to make sure that this shit show doesn't happen again. Because at the moment in the UK, we are 22% of excess deaths in children, not in old people that have lived their lives, in our little kids. And if you don't stand for children, then you don't stand for anything, okay? We all need to understand that this is happening to our children. So please, sirs, moms, get digesting. I mean, you can start with the affidavit to Dr. Francis Boyle. You can see how corrupt the system is, and just go to the police station. Go to the police station, because I tell you what, there will be a time that all of these bent coppers are going to wish that they didn't ignore the legislation. So take it down to your local police station, print it off, take it down and say, sir, if you ignore this and you don't give me a crime number, not an incident, a crime number, I've got a photo of you now, and we will be coming after you for due process in due course.
Yeah.
And if every man done that, right, this shit show would be over in quick time. But again, it's the Great Awakening, as you've already mentioned. It's a process. So I'm trying to learn to be patient. Because patience and discipline are two different things.
Wow.
So,
yes, that's part of your journey.
It is, Mel.
Well, I mean, patience for me. I'm a lot better than I used to be. But well, Dale, thank you so much for being available today. And I just want to say, on behalf of myself, and I'm part of the Sovereign Project in Coventry, as well as other groups around the country. And I know we all feel the same. Thank you for what you've been doing. And the support that you've had locally, and the support that you've got globally, and the support that you've got from us around the UK. Just want to say thank you. And there was a lot of support obviously for you, and it all got bloody cancelled the day before or whenever it was. So frustrating. However, you've got to believe.
Less than 24 hours they give us, and they cancelled our bloody.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they pushed us back 15 months.
Still got to believe in divine timing for what, as frustrating as it is. But
yes.
So thank you, and thank you for being here today. I know the viewers and the listeners are going to love this chat.
Okay, thank you for having me. Big love, everyone.
Fella, I'm glad it's got to go. Unfortunately, the one place change happens to be a home. CDC, Eco Forum, and the WHO. Fuck me, these fucking Starship Troopers gots to go. Promise you get the shot, it guarantees your protection. Lately, all I see is motherfuckers suffering infection. Scaremongering tactics, man, give it a rest. Next thing is holding cops accountable, you're under arrest. Know your sovereign rights, Act 24 of pace. Either that or have an SA-82 in your face. Why do millions disappear talking about the kids? Now we really know the white people calling them pigs. Think you're above the law with that badge on your lid? Motherfuckers need jail time, you know how it is. You know how it is. You know how it is.
And why the hell would they close the vaccine centre down just because of protesters? Ladies and gentlemen, that's absolute nonsense. It would not happen. They are breaking the law, and you are in the right to arrest them. Hold the police accountable.
And you're allowed to can I just make you aware, sir, that children are being harmed. There's an increase in the vaccination deaths of children, 8,200%. We are here. We've got evidence. We are here because we love our children. We love your children and grandchildren. We're not here because we're bad people. I'm a retired policeman.
24A, we can make citizens arrest.
You are all going to prison for life. It stops today. You're killing children. Do your job.
TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. Got my face all around it, bro. Completed it, man. My new favorite uncensored app is Telegram. Being vital there to sticking it to the man. Nah, don't be fooled. Listen to Dr. Fauci. Those things are bad for your health, man. They give you a note. Turn up the fucking tunes. Turn up the propaganda. Complete the listening experience with marijuana. Such a watching the trolls. Thinking to myself, oh, do these fuckers even know about sudden death syndrome? Calling it SARS, yet got the mnemonic. Trying to make it about health. Fucking in it, I roll. That Klaus and Biden, boy, the motherfucker's demonic. We're not the evil ones just because we're blazing the chronic. No cognitive core, drug reference, corruption lately. These crazy cats be coming after all our kids and our ladies.
The wrong day to turn a blind eye to the law today, gentlemen. This is happening. You will act as police officers, or you will be arrested. Unfortunately, we are in our right to do so. Back out of the car, please, and get on with your jobs. Sirs, you are not going anywhere. We need you to start acting appropriately today. We don't care how frustrated you get. You're not half as frustrated as us, so out of the vehicle, please.
Conducting yourself in public.
Well, you think you're above the law because you wear a uniform, champ? You are under arrest. And honestly, you need to pull your thumb out, otherwise you'll be under arrest too, sir. Fuck you. We are the Garvin 23rd. We'll kill the enemy by and by. Every man in the regiment is willing to do or die.